I'm finally getting around to summer pruning my tomatoes. Here in Central Texas, we have 2 seasons for growing the annual vegetables that are common all over the country and world, including tomatoes, eggplants, peppers, and plants like that. And I started to grow those seeds in January of 2025. They got planted out in spring. I did get a lot of cherry tomatoes. We can't really grow big tomatoes here because our seasons aren't long enough. It gets too hot in the summer. We really have 2 short seasons. Then when it gets really hot in the summer, when it's over 90 degrees, the tomatoes are no longer pollinating their flowers. And now the bug pressure, the insects are really taking a toll. I have not really heard other gardeners use this term before. You may have heard of something called overwintering before, and that's where you're trying to get your plants to live over the winter so that they can grow again in the spring. I do something also called oversummering, or that's what I call it. And that's where I try and get my plants from the spring to live through the summer so they can produce more again in the fall and all the way until freeze, which could be January. It's really variable here. You kind of never know what you're gonna get here in Texas, but it'll freeze at some point, and then all the tomatoes are going to die. So right now I've got a lot of long, leggy, insect-ridden tomatoes, and I just need to trim them and summer prune them so that they're ready to grow again for fall. And then I should get another good harvest in the fall. If the weather is mild enough, I might still get some tomatoes here and there. They're still making a few flowers, but it's only getting hotter, and I'm not sure we're gonna get a lot more rain. I think that we probably got the majority of the rain we're gonna get already. It's unbelievable how much the garden has started to look terrible in the last 2 weeks. With the insect pressure, pretty much since it stopped raining, it can be hard to get to this work when it's so hot. But if I don't, then no more tomatoes. So let's get it done. I'm gonna wanna do this early in the morning or maybe later in the evening when the plant is in the shade, and not when it's in the bright sun of the afternoon. It's kind of hard on it for a minute, and then it's better for it. Kind of like transplanting. It takes a couple days to start looking like it's doing better again. So I can definitely see some nice shoots coming up like this that's not infested. That's great, and that would be also great to take more cuttings with. I'm definitely going to need to cut that shorter, so I think I will take some cuttings from this one. There are still a few tomatoes growing on these long ones, but not very many. Not enough to really be worth saving. Ooh, here's one beautiful patio choice tomato, and these are so good. I'm going to eat it. So good. If you are already growing tomatoes, you know that the tomatoes you grow in your garden are better than anything you can possibly get at a store. Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't grown your own tomatoes, you've only tasted tomatoes from the store, you know, those have to travel really far and they have to last a really long time. So they do all kinds of things to it, including breed for shelf life instead of nutrition and taste. So if it tastes really good, it likely has a lot of nutrition. If it tastes like nothing, it might be like nothing. And yeah, a tomato isn't a tomato. They're not all the same. And soon we'll be able to test the nutrition in our plants, and then I think people will care more and demand that the producers grow more nutritious food. You're going to get the most nutritious food you can get growing it yourself. I'm just going to put these aside so that I can make cuttings with what's salvageable. Which is why I'm cutting off the tops first and not just cutting it off from the very bottom. You know, this said it would get 3 feet tall. 7, 8 feet. Okay. Well, anyway, it's doing well. I was looking for a variety that wasn't going to get too long because these are indeterminate tomatoes. If you see something that says determinate, it's like a bush tomato. It won't continuously grow forever. It's going to also produce most of its tomatoes at the same time. An indeterminate tomato will just keep growing longer. It usually is in more of a vine growing habit instead of a bush. And it just keeps producing tomatoes as long as your season is going. Here we still have more flowers coming. They don't get pollinated when it's above 90 degrees. You might get some tomatoes here and there, but it's not worth trying to save right now. I think it's just going to get hotter for a while. Ooh, here's another one. Perfectly ripe. So they're this golden orange color. But the real test is the taste. They just like burst in your mouth with juicy tomato flavor. I'm telling you. I mean, some of them make it into the kitchen, but a lot of them just get eaten as garden snacks. Since this is organic material, it would just take longer to decompose if you don't do this. But it's nice. The birdies can also use it for their nest, and it's almost like straw. This is jute twine, literally from like Lowe's or Home Depot. Really inexpensive too. Now it's compost. Compost is any organic matter that you put on the ground. Maybe you're growing it in a bin. Maybe it's wood chips. There are so many cuttings I can take from this plant. There's 2 tomatoes here on this trellis. They are just about 18 inches apart, which is the recommended spacing. Whew, yeah, these are getting long. I can see right here where I cut a new little bud growing. Oops, and I just cut it off. So I can cut down even more because that bud itself that I just messed up is not coming back, but there's another one. Let's just cut it down to there. And yeah, that's gonna kind of tell it to stop growing taller and to start filling out and to start growing those side shoots that are the little ones, healthy and ready to start growing again. And if it's definitely not going to be a cutting I'm saving, I'm just going to put them somewhere else where I'm going to chop them up for mulch. So everything is a resource, even the ones that I'm not using anymore. It is organic matter for the garden. And all the nutrients that are in a tomato are in the tomato plant. So also, if I mulch it with the nutrients in the tomato plant, then the soil will end up with the nutrients that these tomato plants need. How cool is that? And really, it's great to have a variety, but your compost is whatever it's made out of. Compost is all different. It depends on what's in it. And try not to cut my fingers off while I'm also looking at the video to make sure that you guys can see this. Hey, so I'm going to make another video about taking tomato cuttings since I have so many of these. And I'm going to do that in a separate video because this one's already long enough. So this one is just summer pruning your tomatoes. Please subscribe if you aren't already so that you get a notification when I do get that video up about taking your cuttings. If you have tomatoes, if you have anything left, even if they look kind of bad, if there's any good growth on them, you can both summer prune your tomatoes and get some more going for fall. Especially if you live around here and you have a fall and spring season for your annual vegetables. And I mean, there are other annual vegetables. I'm just mainly talking about the ones that are very commonly grown, at least all over North America and even all over the world, which are tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, squash, etc. Okay, and I have a bunch more tomatoes, tons. I'm not gonna make you guys watch me trim all of these. So, I'm almost done. Oh my goodness, you guys. It's way longer than 3 feet. Botanical interests, you need to update your seed packet. It's more like 6 feet at least. I mean, I have some that are shorter, but they must not have done as well. I might leave some of these a little bit longer than I normally would because they're still doing so well. And cut this part off. So this stem is like the old plant, and this is one of the new plants growing. So if I don't want these tomatoes, I can cut that off and still take this as a cutting. It's getting a little bit hot already. This is a shady area, but it's like 10:30. I don't want to keep doing this too late into the afternoon where these would start to suffer. I can just try to weave this in and out of the trellis or attach it with more of that jute string. Don't really need the side leaves if they don't look good. The side shoots are more important because that's where new vines grow from. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you soon on the next one.